What's up everybody, Welcome back to bring you another interesting video. And guys, I must say, you're going to want to fasten your seatbelts for this one because you are going to be in for a ride. Now, if you all been watching my videos, you know that I've been trying to look for different ways I can keep the channel fresh and exciting. Well, I came up with the idea of making a new series called Sales Top 5. Now, what is this series going to be about, you say? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. So, each week I'm going to choose a category to make a top 5 list about. Obviously it's going to be gaming related, and it will be based on things that I've experienced and played in the past. So please do not get upset if you do not see your favorite game make an appearance. Now I know top 5 videos are definitely not something new here, but I feel like this is a good step in the right direction to get my channel started. So without further ado, let's kick things off with one of my favorite consoles, and I hope you guys really enjoy the series down the line. So kicking things off, we have Mario Kart Double Dash, released on November 7, 2003 in Japan and November 17th in North America. Mario Kart Double Dash quickly found its way close to my heart. This game was so fun. I would honestly give people the work anytime we would play. Right off the bat, the first thing that caught my attention was the new co-op gameplay feature, where one player would drive the cart and the other would use the items. Now, you could have certainly played by yourself in solo mode, but let me tell you guys, the real fun kicked off when you had a group of friends or family all sitting around a TV, just having endless fun. So players could use any type of, or any duo of characters that led to some pretty wacky team-ups. You had Mario and Bowser, you could use Peach and Luigi, Diddy Kong and Toad. The options were endless, and I really loved that. But one thing that really made the game stand out from the rest were the special items. Now, these items can change the course of a race depending on how you would use them. My favorite in particular was the chain chomp, where you would throw a huge chain chomp in front of your cart and it would pull you along, knocking any competitors out the way. And after it was over, it would disconnect from the cart and continue moving forward for about 3 more seconds, and I loved it. I had a lot of time poured into this game just by testing out different strategies and combinations, learning how the maps worked, and just the quickest routes. And I do my homework at school just so I have time to come home and play the game, and I'm sure many of you can relate to what I'm saying. Now, before this game came out, Mario Kart 64 was my favorite Mario Kart game, and still to this day it holds up pretty well. Now, I do wish they would make a HD remaster for the Switch, but until they do, I have to give the crown to Double Dash, and for that's why it earns a top spot on my top 5. Initially called Advanced Wars Under Fire, but was later changed to Battalion Wars, this game is a hybrid of a third-person shooter and a real-time strategy, and it does it quite well. The story is pretty straightforward. You play as a field officer on the Western Front. You and the neighboring Tundran Empire begin the game in a Cold War of sorts at a standoff until the Tundran Empire finally loses their cool and fire first. War breaks out until a third faction appears, the Sylvanians, who take advantage of both sides. You and the Tundran Empire form a temporary alliance to take down the Sylvanians. Gameplay wise, it's mostly running and gunning. Missions can range from rescuing POWs, taking out enemy gun towers and capturing bases, or just wiping out stray enemy units. As for the units you play as, it varies. You don't control one singular person. Instead, you can jump from soldier to vehicle at will. Playing as a normal infantry grunt, a bazooka veteran, taking control of a tank, or piloting your own gunship, it all has its ups and downs. In terms of strength, it's a game of rock, paper, scissors. Some troops and vehicles are stronger than others. For example, Take a look at my my poorly photoshopped diagram. I really apologize for this. As you can see, bazooka veterans are great against tanks, but are no match for infantry units. On the other hand, gunships are great for disposing of tanks, but are an easy target for anti-air units like the missile grunts. When I played this game, I just attack everything at the same time because I never really care for strategy or drawing up game plans. Looking back now, I really wish I would have taken the time to carefully plan out my missions rather than going in blind and hardly listening to helpful tips from my AI commanders, Brigadier Betty, Colonel Austin, and General Herman. The game should take about 8 to 10 hours to complete, and it's sad to say that after that there really isn't much to do. There was no multiplayer or any additional modes, so if you wanted to have any type of replay value, you would have to start the game over or replay different missions to get a higher score. If you're a fan of action strategy games, or you were just looking for a military style game that doesn't take itself too seriously, you couldn't go wrong with Battalion Wars. With a solid action strategy gameplay design and a charming art style, this game earned its spot on my top 5. Luigi's Mansion. Fans, including myself, were ecstatic when this hit the shelves because it was something that has never been done before. Luigi getting his own 3D game. The story starts off with Luigi receiving a letter from Mario about Luigi winning a new mansion. He doesn't remember entering a contest, so he sets out to the mansion. After some time searching, Luigi doesn't find Mario anywhere and eventually encounters some ghosts who scare him until Professor Egad sucks them up with a special vacuum cleaner. The professor explains what's going on and tells Luigi that Mario has been captured and he must rescue him, as well as capturing all the ghosts in the house. Luigi takes the role of a somewhat ghostbuster in this game, and I love that. His main tools for the job were the Poltergust 3000, the vacuum cleaner, and a handy dandy flashlight. The atmosphere was chilling enough to creep a 9-year-old me out, but that didn't stop me from exploring each room and trying to capture each and every ghost. The boss fights were intense and very well thought out, but the game gets even better once you release all the boos trapped inside a little chest. They float away and hide all throughout the mansion, giving you another task to capture all of them. All 50 of them. Along with the last one, King Boo. The last boss fight pits you against both King Boo and Bowser. Now this is an easy one. Just dodge Bowser's flame breath and watch out for his leap attack, because if you don't, he will probably land on top of you. After that, he will throw some spike balls at you, and all you gotta do is suck them up with your vacuum cleaner and shoot them right back at him. Do this enough times and he's down for the count. Once you defeat both of them and trap them inside a painting, you save Mario, who was also trapped inside a painting, and everyone is happy. Now, the amount of money you collected throughout the game determines what type of mansion you will have at the end. You can have a 5-star mansion, or you can even have a tent, which means you didn't collect any money, which is kind of rare. I will always appreciate Nintendo for putting Luigi in the driver's seat for this game, and for that, it makes my top 5 list. Okay, before I even start, I know this game was released for the Wii also, but I preferred the GameCube version mainly because I enjoy using a traditional controller. That's not to say the Wii remote made the experience less enjoyable, because it didn't. It actually made the experience better, especially when using projectile weapons. But as stated before, I still prefer the GameCube controller, so I'm still putting this on the list. That being said, I had the hardest time choosing between this game and The Wind Waker. Both of those games were amazing in their own right, and each of them brought something different to the table. But I eventually went with Twilight Princess because this was the first time Link looked more mature and human-like rather than his smaller, cartoonish counterparts in the other Zelda installments. Also, this game had better dungeons and puzzles, in my opinion. You start off in a small village as a ranch hand, going around the town doing various tasks. Fishing, horse riding, and herding goats. Learning weapon basics. As you can see, you're learning how to use a slingshot. And it really isn't until about 30 minutes into the game where we get introduced to the Bubblins, one of the many enemy groups you encounter in the game. They kidnap the children of the village and Link tries to pursue them, only to get knocked out. Once you wake up, you try to find out where everybody went, only to encounter a wall of twilight in your way. You then get pulled inside by a mysterious twilight creature. The creature notices the symbol in your hand and tries to touch it, only to get blown back. This kind of freaked me out because I didn't know what was going on at this point. As at this moment where you start to transform into the wolf. Once you wake up, this is also where you encounter Midna, an impish little creature who helps you along your journey. She really becomes useful, and I mean very useful to Link, as she leads him to places that are unobtainable in human form, and she also gives you the ability later in the game to fast travel all throughout the map, which is actually really useful because traveling the map on foot or horseback can be pretty tedious. Now, what really sold me on the game was really being able to turn freely into a wolf and back into a human at will. And also, you know, being a wolf, you also had to, it also helped you because there were certain spots that you couldn't get to as Link. So Midna and yourself in wolf form were the only ones that can get to that spot. And also you could find hidden treasure that you needed to advance. And fighting in wolf form was just pretty awesome, especially when you chain together combos with Midna on your back. And as you can see here, there will be sometimes scents that you can pick up in wolf form and track them to an objective or a useful item that can help you later in the game. Now, here's another example using your wolf form to your advantage. Now, normally you wouldn't be able to see that dig spot as Link. So once you turn into that wolf, you can see the spot and dig it up to help you advance. And here's some more of that combat I was talking about. And I'm not lying when I say the combat is really fun in the wolf form. You know, I spoke about chaining together combos with Midna on your back, and here's just another good example of fighting multiple beasts at the same time. It's just really useful. So when you are a wolf, you will be fighting on horseback, and this is another fun way to fight. And sometimes you'd have multiple enemies coming at you at the same time, and you had to manage your stamina while using your weapons. And as you can see at the top of the screen, this was an escort mission, so you had to do some of those. So, you know, you really have to balance it all out. It was a really challenging feat, but it was a welcome one. And as you can see here, there are multiple Bubblins trying to take out the carriage, but you can use your boomerang, which had a little cyclone wind effect to take out the fires. Now, it wouldn't be a Zelda game if you didn't have the Master Sword with you. This scene in particular was just awesome for me as a kid. I mean, come on. You're just holding limitless power in your hands. The sword itself is practically a main character. It's such an iconic relic in the Zelda franchise, and pulling it out at that moment, it just deemed you worthy to to be the master. Now let's talk about the dungeons for a second. So, you know, they were all some of the best I've played, and the puzzles were really well thought out. And like most other games, the puzzles made you utilize some of your gadgets, which made the player really think and, you know, use their head. And what was cool about some of these gadgets was most of them you can use them during a fight. So, you know, they go both ways. They're really handy. The bosses were also unique to that specific level and sometimes require you to use some of those recently obtained items to defeat them. Last, but certainly not least, the final battle, Ganondorf. This is the moment we all had grinded so hard to get to. I cannot tell you how ready I was to finish him off. Now, this was a lengthy fight. It had 4 stages, and the first being the possessed Zelda. It's pretty easy because, you know, you're basically playing tennis with energy balls. All you gotta do is keep knocking them back at Ganon, and you'll eventually defeat him and save Zelda. The next stage was Dark Beast Ganon. Now in this one he turns into a giant hybrid of sort of like a bull and a warhog and charges around recklessly everywhere. This fight was really easy, but it required accurate precision. All you will have to do in this fight is shoot his forehead with arrows when he appears from the portals, and you will know which portal he'll appear from because it'll turn blue instead of red. And once you shoot him in the forehead with the arrows, he will topple over and then you will slash his belly. Halfway in, Midna joins the fight and you use wolf form to finish him off. Just stop his charges with her hand and throw him to the side and land a finishing blow. The very last fight is in the open field with Ganon, and this time you are not alone. You have help, none other than the princess herself, Zelda. She rides on the back of your horse shooting arrows at Ganon as he passes you up. Sometimes he'll knock you off your horse, but you just gotta get back on and follow him. Shoot enough arrows at him and he'll fall. Just a quick note, you want to make sure that you're always in range of Ganon, because if you're not, the Zelda won't be able to shoot arrows at him. So just a quick tip, just always stay in range in this fight. One last good arrow shot and he's stunned. All you gotta do is pull up beside him and give him one sword slash. And so begins the final battle. This was the defining moment of all the hard work that you put in up to this very point. Dodge his attacks and do the occasional backflips while you guys lock up, mash the A button, slash him a couple times, and go in for the finishing blow. Hyrule is saved, and Midna returns to her normal form as a Twilight Princess. She thanks Link and Zelda for helping her out, and returns to her own dimension. This game will go down as one of my favorite Zeldas of all time. With a compelling story, amazing puzzles, and terrific graphics from an artistic perspective, this earns a spot on my top 5. If you've owned a GameCube, you had to have at least heard the name Super Smash Bros. Melee. This game laid out the stepping stones for many other popular platform fighters. Being able to duke it out as any of your favorite Nintendo characters on a lot of their popular stages was jaw-dropping to me as a kid. The stages and gameplay modes take designs from most of the franchises in the game. You had Pokemon Stadium, which was awesome when Pokeballs are dropped and can be used to summon different Pokemon. Dreamland, which was Kirby's stage featuring wispy woods and apple tree that blows players back occasionally. Mute City, which was my personal favorite, mainly because you can knock your opponent down into the oncoming traffic of racers and cause damage. Jungle Japes, a tricky map where if you fall in the stream below, it will most likely result in an instant KO. Icicle Mounted, which was another cool map because the screen kept moving up, so if you were too slow, you get eliminated. Some of the challenges were pretty fun too, but who can forget the iconic boss fight, the Master Hand. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this thing gave me nightmares when I was little. It had no body and it had a really creepy laugh when it first appeared. Not only will Melee remain one of my top fighting games of all time, but it most certainly earned a spot in my GameCube top 5. Well, there it is, my top 5 GameCube games. Did you enjoy it? I know I did. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below and let me know what you'd like to see next. I'm Cell Saga, and this has been Cell's Top 5. See you guys next time.